Hello, Smagpies, and welcome to the SMAGcast. Once again, I'm your host, Kevin Heyman, and this week we have another bout of group solitaire. So, that being said, let's get right to it.
Hey there, this is Calyps / Warren. This is my 10-minute segment of the bi-weekly solitaire portion of the SMAGcast. This week has been an interesting week for me. I have had my first internet hate thread dedicated to me, and I'm not going to get into what I did to deserve or not deserve such a thing, but it has been an interesting experience in general. Of course, my first reaction was dismay, and my second reaction was to feel like I had actually done something wrong, and that it was somehow deserved. And then my third reaction was to actually think and then be like, no, these guys are just mad because I did a thing that doesn't verify their particular worldview, which, fuck it. What was really bizarre about it was, to me, it probably falsely created this sense that I have some degree of internet fame because I did something on one website and a hate thread about me popped up on a totally different website, making me think that, well, actually just surprising me that my actions, whatever they are, have enough effect to, generate gossip. And then I'm wondering, what other gossip is actually going on out there on the internet about me. I have Googled my handle along with relevant tags, and I've found threads where people, before this even happened, where people are defending things that I did, and I'm like, well, thank you, because I certainly can't be everywhere at once. Yeah, it's been an interesting week. I took down a major mod that I had not put a lot of work into, to be perfectly honest, but it had done really well. I've made a lot of progress on the current versions of CNHF. I have started working on I'm talking about Skyrim modding, and I made in case you're late to the conversation, I made a body mod, which is like a body replacer for Skyrim, for the female body, the goal of which is to make a actual fighter body, and for people who have followed this podcast, you've heard this before, but not one that is a lean cut bodybuilding machine, but somebody who looks like they go out and they swing a sword and they kill dragons and then they come home and they eat, enough food to, feel satisfied, and then they go to sleep and, then they wake up and they go do it all again. So it's not skinny and it's not fat. And it's not that bodybuilder shape. Well, anyway, so I've got the base done, and now I'm working on some dynamic versions of it. Some versions that have more fat, some versions that have different shaped breasts. And when I say different shaped breasts, I don't mean larger breasts or different size breasts. I mean literally breasts have different shapes than the traditional ideal, Greek teacup type thing. So I'm experimenting with some larger nippled versions, some that point in different directions. It's just trying to hit some of the natural variations that breasts take, because I there's this thing called symbolic annihilation, and it's where you, as a type of person, feel excluded by media because your type is never represented. And I recently found a website. Let me see if I can bring it up real quick. The point of the website is basically for women to be able to to post their own breasts anonymously and share them with other women in a non-sexualizing, non-fetishized way. One of the number one comments you see on all these pictures is that these women come here and they look and they're like, wow, I didn't realize that other women had breasts shaped like mine. You know, I thought I was just, you know, I thought I was different. I thought, you know, no one else had breasts like mine, and I thought my breasts were not attractive or whatever, you know. For whatever reason, because they never saw confirmation of their own breast shape in any kind of media ever, it generates that, you know, feeling of being different. And then they come here and they actually see other breasts that actually look like theirs. I may include a link in the links section to this website. But yeah, there's this thing called symbolic annihilation, in which you as a type of person are, you know, annihilated from all media. You're excluded from all media because, you know, the media makers never include you. And so I'm playing with some dynamic versions and some alternate options, non-fetishized, I hope. You know, I'm not making this so like guys who like this kind of breast can download this body mod, and guys who like that kind of breast can download this body mod. That's not the point. I'm sure that's how it will work out for some people. And of course, there's nothing I can do about that. I'm not going to try to control that particular aspect of it. It's not worth my time. But what I would just like to do is just, you know, represent some of these other types in a way that's respectful and acknowledging and affirming. I have also started some work on a larger breasted version, although it's not a priority at this point. Even though I know for some people looking at the mod, it will be like a total priority. But really, this mod's not for those people. It's for every time CNHF gets a female endorsement, gets a woman who endorsed it, we all sort of do a round of high fives, all the people that work on it. And every time a dude endorses it, we all go, okay. And that's not devaluing men. It's just CNHF has a very particular purpose. And it is to serve an underserved demographic, which is women who don't want to be sexualized at every turn, you know. I have had women get very angry with me for suggesting that they shouldn't want to be sexualized, and that's not really what I'm suggesting at all. And I don't even know why you would get angry at me for saying that, because there are literally like 50 body mods available if your goal is to be sexualized. If your goal is to find a body mod that makes you look like the ideal, you know, media-driven Baywatch babe with big high breasts and you know all that shape that the media pushes at us over and over and over, that model, that TV babe thing, you know, that babe shape. There are plenty of body mods that will give you that. That is not our goal with CNHF. I don't know. When I get that from women, I'm just like, well, okay, then this mod's not for you. But I feel like at least 50% of women don't really want to be sexualized all the time. In fact, I bet that number is a lot higher. I think it's more like 80 or 90% of women have no interest in being sexualized all the time. And yet, all the body mods that were currently available, that was their goal, you know. They converted steel armors to have bouncing breasts, and they converted, you know, they did stuff like that because they were made by men who wanted, you know, bouncing steel breasts, apparently. But that's not the goal of CNHF. That was never the goal of CNHF. And so if it bothers someone that it's not meeting that particular need, all I can say is you've got options, you know. If this is not what you want out of a body mod, well, you've got plenty of other options. Don't think I have much else to say this week. Yeah, I think I'm about done. So anyway, if you have any interest in following the progress of the CNHF body, which, by the way, CNHF stands for Calyps and Nuska's heroic form, CNHF. If you have any interest in following us, you can follow us on Tumblr at CALYPS- Betrayer of Boners, all one word. That's Betrayer of Boners, as in erected penises. .tumblr.com. We will probably include a link. You can also go to my old URL, which is Calyps-Smexus, SMEXUS.tumblr.com, which will forward you to the new URL, which got changed because of that hate thread. Anyway, you can follow the progress of the body mod there. We should be very, very close to our 2.0 release. I have been posting pictures of it because I am fairly confident that it is on its way out the door into the spotlight. So yeah, thank you for listening. I hope I was not incredibly boring. And I will see you in a week or two.
What's up, guys? It's Mike here. Been having a heck of a time coming up with what to talk about this week. I was going to touch on the whole NSA debacle, but I'm just not feeling it. I guess I'll take it up with the guys next week. But I'll just tell you what I've been doing this week and ramble a little bit. I guess the big thing is Animal Crossing came out last weekend, and I've been playing the heck out of that. My history with Animal Crossing is never had a GameCube, but Kevin had it on the GameCube, and I had a character in his town. Played that for a little while, and then when it came out on the DS, I bought it and played that for a good bit. But then my DS was stolen, and it had that cartridge in it when it was stolen, so I pretty much after that I'd never touched Animal Crossing again. I won't say it was traumatic or anything, but it did hurt the fact that, I'd been putting a lot of time into this game, and just some jerk stole it out of my backpack. Not that they knew about it, but... So, let's see here. So, Animal Crossing, been putting a lot of time into that. This game definitely has its new leaf for the 3DS, by the way, for anyone wondering. It's got a lot to do compared to previous Animal Crossing games. Animal Crossing, for those that don't know, is it's kind of like The Sims in that there's no defined goal, and really it's not much of a game, in the traditional sense. There's, no real objectives. It's very sandboxy, although there are paths. Like one of the main things you do is you pay off your house. You get when you first move into the town, you get a house, and you have a house loan you have to pay off. And every time you pay it off, you get to make your house bigger. I guess that's really the only overarching impetus in the game. But there's also a lot of mini games and stuff, and online multiplayer, which is pretty interesting. There was a little bit of that in the Wild World DS version. I think City Folk for the Wii had it, but I never played that. Kevin has it, but I just didn't feel like playing it on there. So I've been playing that. Last night I started watching Attack on Titan, which is a anime. Been seeing it go around a lot, pictures and references to it, and pretty much the whole nerdosphere. And finally got into watching it. it's good, but it's definitely a bit grim. And if I didn't know one certain thing was going to turn out, I would probably not watch it, because I don't like, well, another thing, I don't like George R.R. Martin. Me and Kevin and a few other people are probably the few people that really don't like Game of Thrones. I don't like it personally. Well, I can't say I don't like it. I was just very disappointed with the first book. I guess it's no secret. He kills characters left and right, and I just don't like that. I mean, I don't like getting attached to a character all of a sudden for it to be knocked off, just to be killed out of hand like he does. Sure, it may be part of a bigger story, but I just don't feel... I feel betrayed. You know, here I am sympathizing with this character, wanting them to succeed, wanting them to, you know, get out of their adversity, and they're dead. It just bums me out. Not that I have to have, you know, happy-go-lucky stories all the time where, you know, everything's conveniently wrapped up and everybody's better off at the end, but geez, don't just kill them. So anyway, back to Attack on Titan. If you haven't seen anything about it, it's kind of a medieval setting where humanity has been pushed back to this large walled off city. I guess more like a small nation maybe, because inside the walls there are forests and, you know, farmlands and stuff, but it's the last, as far as they know, or as we know, as we've been told, it's the last bastion of humanity, because there are these titans, these large humanoid, well, they really look like humans, but they describe later as they're not completely human. They're not, you know, biologically like a human, but for some reason they just eat people. I guess it's kind of like a medieval Evangelion, although humans don't have large things to fight them themselves. But it's really pretty interesting. I've been enjoying it. It's still ongoing, so there's only up to episode 11 out now, and I'll probably end up getting to that point by tonight. And let's see what else. Well, Kevin Warren and I were going to go see Man of Steel today, but we decided not to after hearing how bad it was. I guess I could turn this into a DC movie rant. I really wish DC... I've never been as fond of DC as Marvel, even though I'm not totally into comics anyway. But I really wish DC would take some cues from Marvel and really have a more cohesive vision for their movie, or their franchises turned into movies, I guess I should say. Other than the Nolan Batman movies, DC really hasn't had a strong showing in the theaters. Marvel's no saint either. Before they took over a lot of their properties personally, there was Daredevil and the Fantastic Four. They put out some turds too, but then they realized that movie studios don't understand what makes their franchises popular. So they brought as many of them in-house as they could. There's still contracts that prevent some others, like they still don't have Fantastic Four back under their own direction because that's wrapped up with contracts. Same thing with Spider-Man. But hopefully one day they'll be able to bring them back in-house. And DC really needs to do the same, or at least exert more creative control, because movie studios obviously don't get it. Yeah, well, anyway, I never know how to wrap these things up, so I guess I'll say adios and on to the next person, unless I'm the last person, and in that case, goodbye.
Hello, Smagpies. It's Kevin here with my little rant for the week, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about video games. Specifically, the games I like and the way the companies that make them screw me over constantly. I'm going to start with Mega Man, though, because that's been all over the internet. If you don't know by now that Mega Man is in the new Smash Brothers game, you're living under a rock. Mega Man's in the new Smash Brothers game. I'm excited about it. The internet's excited about it. Just deal. But the point is, I love Mega Man. I always have. He's my boy. Mega Man was one of those games that was just incredibly fun. I love the visuals. I love the character design. It's goofy. It's fun. And for some reason, Capcom has seen fit to completely deny fans a new Mega Man game. And I'm not quite sure what the deal is. All we want is new Mega Man. I don't mean like Mega Man 9 and 10 that they came out with for the virtual consoles and what have you. I mean a 3D side-scrolling action game with the original Mega Man. And for some reason they don't want to do this. They don't want people to have this. They want to do things like Marvel vs. Capcom and then not put Mega Man in there. They put X in there, which, yeah, I enjoy Mega Man X, the first one. Which, that leads me to another subject. For some reason, they keep taking these simple games like Sonic the Hedgehog and Mega Man, where it's you go through stages, you defeat bosses, and then you beat the game. And they add this needless depth, like zero. I don't need a backstory for some of this stuff. All I want is what they had in the original Mega Man, the series. Okay, here's Mega Man. Dr. Wily's gone evil. He stole some robots. Okay. Second one. Dr. Wily's back. He's made his own robots. Third one. Guess what's happening? You know, I don't need a lot of depth. I just need some stages to run through and some things to shoot and a little blue dude that makes pleek pleek noises when he shoots eggs out of his hand. That's all I'm asking. And Sonic the Hedgehog, his story has become so convoluted. All I want out of a Sonic game is to run really fast and have fun doing it and be like, wow, that's fast. But instead we get things like Shadow the Hedgehog and junk like that. In other gaming news or thoughts, they've also announced Final Fantasy 15. Okay, that's great. And I understand, I'm with a lot of people on but what about a Final Fantasy 7 remake? It's not going to happen. I've accepted that, and I'm okay with that, because as long as they come out with good Final Fantasy games, like, I don't care what anybody says, I enjoyed 10. 10 was pretty fun, it was cool, I liked the story, I liked the voice acting, too, for the most part. Especially Waka being voiced by John DiMaggio, you know, we had Bender there. The thing that gets me about Square Enix, though, is, let's go with Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger is considered one of the greatest JRPG games ever made. And it's fun. It's been re-released, you know, several times. I've gotten it every time for the new systems. I've got it for the DS over there somewhere. The problem isn't them making Chrono Trigger available. The problem is them making a new Chrono Trigger. All I want them to do is do a third game. Now, I don't understand whether there's legal problems or the creators don't want to do it. All I know is it looks like Capcom and Square Enix are both allergic to money. I don't know why that is. They could come out with these games with fairly simple premises and, you know, they'd be fun and people would buy them. Nintendo is not immune to this either. You hear me, Nintendo? I'm talking to you, buddy. You came out with Earthbound. Now, I enjoy Earthbound. I played it. I'm not like a huge fan, but I've played it and it's fun. My girlfriend is just and the general Earthbound fandom is still pissed that you never released any of the sequels, like Mother 3 over here. I don't understand what you're doing, or why you haven't made a new game and released it over here. The problem was marketing over here. If you market it correctly, I mean, because, like, the first thing I ever knew about Earthbound was from Smash Brothers. Why is this little doughy kid here with psychic powers and a baseball bat? I don't understand. Then I played the game, and it made sense, but Nintendo just won't do it. They could make money, but they won't. Then you got the other side of the coin, which, when you think about it, is, well, any modern franchise that has gone past, say, 5 or 6 installments and still continues to come out, and I'm looking at you, Grand Theft Auto. I know there's a new one coming out. My problem is, like, they took Grand Theft Auto 3, which was admittedly a fun game, and, what was the other one? Vice City, the one in the 80s? That was pretty fun. The problem is the next one, San Andreas, where they took it and you had to, like, go, or was it the one after that? I don't know. There's so many, and so many, like, spin-off games, I've lost track. But where you have to go and, you know, establish friendships in a game that is essentially about stealing cars. You know why anybody plays Grand Theft Auto? I know why I played it a little bit. I got in there, I stole a car, and I started ramping them anywhere I could. I really don't care about your story, okay? I don't care about this guy having friends or taking someone to the movies or hanging out and watching TV or the hot coffee mod. I just want to have fun, guys, and that's my general message to the gaming industry when you get down to it. I just want to have fun. Give me the means to do that, and I will gladly fork over money to you. So, that's pretty much all I've got for the week, so I'm gonna go ahead and shut up now, and we'll move on to the next person, so I'll see you next week.
Hello, SMAGcast. How are all my little smag pies again? We're back, or I'm back. I guess you're back too, I'm not really sure. I suppose you're back because you're listening to this, but I'm definitely back. It's Paul, your friendly neighborhood graphic artist, once again. And this week, I've decided to talk about this fun game that I've been playing for a while now called Don't Starve. Now, Don't Starve is produced by Clee Entertainment. I guess that's how you say it, CLEI Entertainment. And you can find it on Steam. At the time of this recording, I think it's like $14.99, and I'll give you a little synopsis of what they say about it. It says, Don't Starve is an uncompromisingly wilderness survival game full of science and magic. You play as Wilson, an intrepid gentleman scientist who has been trapped by a demon and transported to a mysterious wilderness world. Wilson must learn to exploit his environment and its inhabitants if he ever hopes to escape and find his way back home. That's it, or at least what Steam says it is. I'll tell you what I think it is. Don't Starve is a very interesting game. You do play as a guy named Wilson. You are plopped down onto this one giant island, and you have absolutely nothing. I think, no, you don't have anything. It's kind of like Minecraft in that way. So what you do is you wander around, you find some saplings, pick some sticks, you find some flint on the ground, and then you take the flint, you take the sticks, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. No, you take them both, and there you have an axe, so you can chop down trees. You chop down the trees, you collect the wood, you make a fire. Because at night, the Gru comes and kills you very quickly. With the name Don't Starve, that entails that there's a good chance that you'll starve. And I've done this a few times. There are berry bushes around. There are carrots every now and then in the ground. Birds drop seeds, which you can either eat, or you can take some beefalo manure, which beefalos are kind of like buffaloes, but they're a bit shaggier. You have to shave them sometimes. And they do get red butts like once a week, game time, and then they come out and attack you because they're in heat. So you do all that, you make a farm, you turn some logs into boards, you take the boards, you put them into it, or you turn them into a chest, and now you got a place to store stuff. You wander around, there's different little certain areas, there's foresty areas that are full of spiders, and pig villages with friendly pigs. There's swamps, which are full of mermen, which attack you, and these big tentacle things that come out and whip you. Not in a good way. There's like this rocky outcropping type of areas. Essentially, the game is collect a bunch of resources, use what you can, and then start figuring out how to make more things. One of the first things you have to make, which you need a gold nugget for, is a science machine so you can start prototyping things. Because the world is a dangerous place. About every 10 days or so initially, at night you get attacked by dogs, or they're called hounds. They have pig noses, I think. Anyway, they come into your camp, just one at first, then two, and then I've got a game right now where I am currently, as of recording this, on day 167. I've been through 5 winters so far. Your crops don't grow in winter. Let's see, what else? Chester. You're going to love Chester. Occasionally, as you're walking around, you will find this thing called the eye bone. And when you pick it up, this little fuzzy, round, footstool-looking thing with 4 legs and teeth and a tongue and 2 horns comes up. And his name's Chester. He's your walking chest buddy. He can hold 9 slots of whatever. There are a few boss monsters. I've encountered one of them so far. If you cut down too many trees, the keeper of the forest comes after you. He's a big pine tree looking guy. They're pretty benign after you escape from them. They're pretty slow too. If you kill too many rabbits and birds and turkeys and things of that nature, and beefalo, then Krampus comes after you. He's some sort of a reindeer that's wearing a Santa's outfit, and he comes and tries to kill you because you're naughty. Killing rabbits is a good way to get meat. There are other ways to get meat, obviously. The dogs and spiders all drop monster meat, which can then be put on drying racks and turned into monster jerky, which you can then combine 1 monster jerky and like 3 berries or 3 carrots or whatever in your crock pot that you have to build. And you have to gather the resources for that, and you can make meatballs, which restore some of your health, a lot of your hunger bar, and some of your sanity. And speaking of sanity, you go insane in this game. At night, your sanity drops. Throughout the day, it can go down somewhat. If you're near certain things, it'll make you go insane. Like, for instance, the keeper of the forest. He makes you go insane. It's lovely. Crazier you go, the worse things get. Your initial sanity meter is like 150 or so. Once you drop down below 80, all of the rabbits become these little black furry things that you can then shave for beard trimmings, which Wilson gets a beard, but some of the people after him don't. And you need beard trimmings for something. I forget what you have to have those for. Yeah, and insanity is just not a good thing. At night, when you're insane enough, you'll start hearing like this little toy piano children's music, and these big shadow hands come out of the dark and try to steal your fire so that the Gru can eat you. Maybe that is the Gru, I don't know. There's also some big long thing that's furry at the end. It's rather phallic. I'm not really sure what it's supposed to be. But one of the great things about this game is that the company, Klee or Cly or whatever it is, generally updates the game about once a month or so. They do small updates here and there, and the updates add things. Like a few updates back, they added the sanity meter. The last update, which is about 2 weeks ago from when I'm recording this, which is about a week behind. Anyway, that gave caves. So there's this whole new area you can go down into. On top of just surviving, there is the adventure modes where you have to survive in 5 different environments that all have something special about them. Like one of the environments, it's always snowing. One of the environments, it's like, I think it's always raining, and rain depletes your sanity. Unless, of course, you build an umbrella, in which case you're okay because you're not getting wet. I think the ultimate goal of the game is just to get back. There are 4 little things scattered throughout each island. They're called like box thing and potato thing and crank thing. And you combine those all at the wooden thing, and that allows you to travel to a new map or world. I don't know. I guess it's a map. It's a new island. Anyway, something that I also like about this game is that when you die, your map's gone, and everything that was there is gone. There's no coming back from it. You're dead, you're dead. It's just like real life. Now, granted, you can find these little pig head looking things around an altar that'll bring you back, and that's kind of like a free one-up. You can build this thing called a meat effigy, which looks like Wilson, and you can place it in your camp, and when you die you respawn there, but it also, whenever you build it, it drops your permanent health by 20, which makes it easier for you to die, because there's lots of ways for you to die in this game. I've been surviving, like I said, for like 167, 169 days. I've gotten to the point now where I don't have to kill rabbits or turkeys or elephants to get their meat, because I get attacked by dogs like every 3 to 5 evenings, and I get so much monster meat that I got tons of monster jerky, and I've got 8 farms going and all these berry bushes, and you can make bee boxes, and you can make honey, and you have all this stuff. And I've got my winter hat on, and I've got my beefalo vest, or my puffy vest with the trunk of a koalaphant. So yeah, this game, I know, I've explained it to other people, and sure, it sounds pretty weird, and let's face it, it is pretty weird. It looks like Tim Burton drew it. I would highly recommend anybody who likes kind of a survival-y sort of go find things adventure game like Minecraft in a way, to just go out and pick it up. It's not very expensive. I got it on sale during a Steam sale, and which is how I get a lot of games that I don't end up playing. But yeah, Don't Starve by Klee Entertainment. Go and check it out. So I've been Paul, and this is the SMAGcast, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!
And once again, that's all for this week's Group Solitaire. So until next week, at our typical roundtable discussion, I've been Kevin Heyman, and I'll see you next week. This has been the SMAGcast. If you have any thoughts or questions, you can reach us at thesmagcast@gmail.com. Our theme music is Out of School by Jazar from the album Traveler's Guide, available from freemusicarchive.org and used under Creative Commons license.